Namaste. Namaste and welcome. I'm just going to change this down a little bit. There we go. Hello. Peace morning. Peace morning. Namaste. As we enter this midweek, I am thankful to be here this morning to share some universal guidance with you through the Earth Warriors Oracle cards, which have been calling the last few days. And I also have the yogic path, which we always, for the most part, use because it's all about yoga in Ma'az. And we have yoga for body, mind, for mind, body, and spirit, a book by Rachel Scott, a little book that I picked up a while ago to give a little bit more insight. So feeling the feels this Wednesday. And we have a full moon coming up on Friday. We just finished the time change not too long ago. And lots of energy shifting as usual, as this is the building up into the full moon. So let's bring in some sacred space this morning. And we call upon the spirit of the south, the west, the north, the east, as above, as below, in between and all around, from Mother Earth to Father Sky. We call upon all of the guardians of the galaxies, the archangels, the guides, our team of angels that help guide us into a higher consciousness while we are on this earth in this lifetime. We are surrounded by love and light. We are guided by love and light because we are love and light. I say namaste. Thank you. Beautiful. Welcome. Welcome. Feel free to post some comments and say good morning. And we're going to start with yoga for mind, body, and spirit. Sometimes you can use a book for a divination, and a divination gives us sort of some higher insight. Cards are divination, runes are divination, a pendulum's a divination. And sometimes you can use a book. And bringing in an intention, flipping through the pages like so until you find that intuitive calling as to what page you land on. I use this a lot with the Tao Te Ching and the, what's the other one? The Yoga Sutras for daily inspiration. Beautiful. Here we go. Love is expressed through the details. Through relationships, we discover ourselves. Beautiful. So this obviously has to do with love. So we're talking about love today. Love is expressed through the details, and how we can find the details is Shannon. Good morning, love. Peace out. Thank you for sharing a few moments and a few cycles of breath with me this morning. Satnam, my love. Hope you had a wonderful birthday on the weekend. Peace, sister. We can find love through the details. And how to find the details? Well, we slow down. We take a moment to become still. And it's okay if it feels awkward or if it feels sort of unsteady to become still. That's okay. Have that experience exactly as it shows up for you. And that's why we create space. That's why we create space between our thoughts and our actions. That's why we create space between the breath in and the breath out. Paraka Rachaka, as we call it in yoga. That is why we create space in our bodies through yoga asana, through the postures. We create space between our mind and our breath through mantra, the vehicle for the mind. We also create space through mudras as well, because we are connecting right and left hemispheres, masculine and feminine, Shiva Shakti, into these pressure points into our hands, which create space inside of our bodies. So there's lots of ways to create space. And why is creating space important to find the details? Well, because when we're busy, when we're frantic and we're always going, the space is filled with motion. So when we're able to be in relationship with that and almost soothe that motion into stillness, we create space to see the details. Cool. I like it. Okay, we're going to start with actually the Earth Warrior cards, because that's what they're calling out for. Lovely. How are you this morning, Shannon? How is the peace morning for you, my love? On this Wednesday, a few days before the full moon, so we can start reaping the energy of the full moon. And when we talk about the full moon, we know that it is becoming full. It is becoming ripe. It is the fruit that is becoming ripe to eat. And then as soon as that moon becomes full and swollen, it starts to empty. I invite you to be curious and take inventory of what is full for you today in this moment. What is full for you today? And if something comes up, if you get an intuitive thought immediately without overthinking it of what is full in your life, create some space to be able to check in with that fullness and see where you want to direct it. Do you want to continue staying full, or do you want to empty that somewhere? Do you want to expand it? Do you want to consolidate, or do you want to expand that fullness that you're feeling? Okay. Beautiful day. I'm up early, lots of energy building up. Beautiful. Satnam. Satnam. Yes. The cold shower was very exhilarating this morning for me. I just walk in. Don't think about it. Just walk in. And I tell you, it's one of the best things in the morning prior to the morning devotional practice is that cold shower. It's awesome. Satnam. Yes. Thank you. Okay. So this is guiding us into creating space into love. So this is Uluka Vahini. She who rides the owl brings justice. She who rides the owl brings justice. Oh, I'm excited. So the Earth Warriors has a little bit of dialogue here. So I'm going to read you a story. And I invite you to sit back in a comfortable position, and you can have eyes open or eyes closed. You can even have hand on the belly, hand on the heart as well to receive this. So remember, you're not necessarily making this happen, this story, you're receiving it. Okay. From the perspective of those with awakened hearts, because we're talking about love, so of course this is going to show up. From the perspective of those with awakened hearts, that higher frequency of love, the world can sometimes appear to be a disturbing and frightening place where negative activity leads to prosperity. Okay, that's kind of heavy. That's like, what does that mean? I think we can figure it out. So when we are in this realm of higher consciousness, and some people are and some people aren't. Satnam, peace out, brothers and sisters, honor where you're at. Okay. For those who are in that higher level of consciousness, sometimes we call them star seeds. The world can sometimes appear to be disturbing because we see the world as love. We see through the lens of love. And when we perceive, which is part of third eye chakra, ajna chakra, the pineal gland, what we see does not match the frequency that we're at. Beautiful. Alicia, beautiful. Thank you for sharing space. You and Shannon, thank you. Satnam. Peace out. So what happens? Have you ever had that where your frequency, you're vibing on a higher frequency, and then what you see or what you're around, whether it's a person, place, or thing, does not match that frequency? And then maybe that takes us off of that frequency. Maybe it pulls us down. Maybe we have to drop down to meet that person, place, or thing where they're at, or we choose not to. and we bring in our own sound frequency to rise that energy. Well, that's why we pay attention to the energy that we're around. Okay, it's a choice. Choose how you energy wisely, because that energy matters. And that's why we have that electromagnetic field around us, 3 to 9 feet around us. Okay, it can vary. And that's sort of our aura. That's our protective layer. And sometimes that aura can have tears in it. It can be less than integral. Okay. And then what happens is that's when we start to feel other people's person, places, or things, energy start to penetrate into our aura field. Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. Okay. And especially if you consider yourself to have empathic qualities, that can be, what do you call it? Draining. It can be very draining to be around this and to feel that penetration of those lower energies. Well, that's why we do the work. That's why we keep showing up. It's hard when you feel empathetic. Yes. And there's a few different versions of empathy as well, okay? And feeling empathy for someone else, and then being a person who has empathic qualities as well. And actually, a couple of months ago, I hosted a workshop, an online workshop on the survival guides to being an empath. And we looked at different ways, tangible ways and activities that we can actually keep that energy frequency up, especially when we're around heavier frequencies. And it is accessible. It may not always be super easy to be able to hold your frequency, yet it is a choice. I really want you to know it's a choice to do that, to be willing to put in a little bit of extra work, knowing you're going to be around people that, or places or things that have a lower energy frequency. Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's okay. Shows up for anxiety. Mm-hmm. Yes. Those are two beautiful recognitions. Lovelies. Thank you for sharing. Yes. And that's why we want to create space in the details to come from love, as what the page of the book was for our intention, is we want to keep the accessibility to be able to tap into that love frequency, so that can sustain us when we're out into the world. Okay. And it takes practice. It takes practice. Okay. All right. Let's see. It may seem that what matters most is tended to the least. Well, we can look at that as our breath, our pranayama. Our breath is the most important thing in our life, because it brings us life from the first breath in when we're a baby to the last breath out when we transition. Okay. So when we go into that soulful journey into the next realm, yet that importance of breath, we tend to forget it because it's so automatic. And really, that's where the true power is in our life, is by connecting with our breath. Because when you connect with your breath through meditation, yoga, mantras, mudras, whatever, just being still, being present, you're able to direct that energy, because the breath is the channel to which prana moves. And how we rise the kundalini energy up to activate the chakras, because kundalini energy actually moves the chakras, and the chakras go in sort of different directions. Okay, they spin in different directions. So when the Ida and Pingala, when we start to be conscious of the kundalini energy, we start to rise it up through practice, through devotional practice, and those nadis, those energies start to mix and match all the way up. So it moves the chakras individually, yet to make a collective unit, which rises Shakti to Shiva. And then we expand that out, and then we bring all that energy back in. We're human beings. We be here now. Okay. We are beings. So we want to ascend, yet we also want to be able to descend that energy back down to be able to further use it immediately. So when we are around people, let's say someone's screaming at the coffee place that you're getting the coffee at, and I don't know, someone's having a bad day and they're freaking out, and you automatically feel that energy, you can put up that protective barrier. Okay. You can put up that protective barrier so that penetration doesn't happen. Okay. It sort of bounces off you. Okay. So this is focusing on what matters the most sometimes is tended to the least, while destructive purposes gain mass support and constructive causes struggle to maintain existence. So yeah, it's very easy with such a view of things for the pure of heart to become angry, bitter, and despairing. So we can lose our faith. It's basically talking about we can lose our faith when we're surrounding ourselves with energies that don't serve us. And that can even mean thoughts. Okay, I want to make that clear. That can mean thoughts that you have, even if you don't speak them. Even those thoughts that nobody knows, if those are negative, heavier frequency thoughts, it's going to affect the energy pool inside of you. Okay. So we are going to have these thoughts because we're humans. That is the human experience, because we are emotional beings. Okay. It's a scientific proven fact. Okay. So what are we supposed to do? Well, we check in. We make a consistent practice. We make it happen. For example, the cold shower. I don't always want to go into a cold shower, although it's part of the practice. So I don't question it. I just do it and I have the experience. Okay? And that is, in a sense, the ability to be able to get to that space is in thank you, love you. Thank you, lovelies. Thank you so much for sharing. It's really, it's a choice to be able to do that. Okay. It's a choice to be able to recognize I'm going to have this experience and I'm going to just move through it. Okay. I think I lost my train of thought there. So I'm not sure if that made sense or not. Okay. However, you are meant to be a light in this world, and it is important that you allow Great Spirit to support you in this task. Safeguarding your state of mind is essential for you to accomplish your life purpose. That's exactly what we're talking about. If you get caught up in negative thinking, as may happen from time to time, exactly because we're human feelings, we're human beings, allow Great Spirit to guide you back to the truth of your inner light. Okay, so remember that the divine is more powerful than any nightmare created by human darkness. You don't have to deny the dark side of human nature or its manifest consequences, but you do need to keep yourself secure with the light so you can effectively fulfill your destiny. And that's it. So she who rides the owl brings justice. So the owl sees. The owl is a seer. Okay. And when you think about bringing justice, it is it's bringing justice into the light. It's retaining and remaining into the energy frequency that you vibe at to bring that justice of love, which is the birthright that you have. Cool. All right. I love it. I love it. I love it. So everything is balanced out by karma in the long run. If you feel down or depressed, take action immediately to reconnect to joy, healing, energy, and vitality of spirits. Okay. So, and that's exactly it. When you start to feel, especially if you're more in tune with an empathetic quality, you recognize it. That's why we pay attention. That's why we slow down, so we can pay attention to it and then further command what we want to do with that. The same as if you're feeling full of energy closer to the full moon, pay attention and ask yourself, what do you want to do with that energy? Okay. And here's the jumping card for our yoga. Let's see. Callie. It's Callie. Hello, Callie. Welcome, Callie. Callie's going to remind us how we are able to continue this. How are we able to keep the energy frequency that we want to hold sustainable when we're starting to feel full around the full moon, when we're around heavier energies? Okay, so we know that Kali is the goddess of destruction, dissolution, and ecstasy. So she destroys to create. Okay. Kind of like Shiva. Okay, you draw upon Kali when you are in a time of radical rebirth. She is fierce, erratic, untamed, the part of you that you're afraid to give full control because you don't know where it will take you. Because sometimes we want to stay in that cocoon of safety and security, and those have to do with the lower three chakras. That's why the lower three chakras are heavier, and people like to gravitate down towards that area and stay there because it's comfortable. It's what they know. It's their default. And that's why sometimes love, for some people, I've heard, can be very scary. They're scared to love. They're scared to love themselves. They have that inability. They're not sure how to do it. So that's where the work comes in. That's why we do the work and we keep showing up. Okay. And in order to create this higher frequency, we have to let certain things go because we want to create space to be able to hold that love, because love is more expansive. It has more expansion. It's a higher frequency than those heavier energies of earth, fire, and water. Okay. She will destroy all disillusion and bring you face to face with your darkest shadows, not to cause anguish, but to rather from a deep place of love. So even accessing our shadows to be in relationship with them so we can actually bring them to rest, then we have that ability to move forward and move higher. Okay. Kali comes to you in a time of deep liberation, stepping into the truer form of you. Trust the process and allow yourself to release all limitations so you can be one with the bliss that you are. So we're talking about trust, and trust has a lot to do with heart chakra as well, and I guess Manipura. So we're moving up the chakra system with this ability to trust the process, to let the process happen. And that's why we want to have a very solid foundation within ourselves and around us. Because when we're stable within us and around us, we can then start to feel pleasure, which then we can start to bring action into that pleasure. And then we can move that pleasure into love and start to, or can continue to ascend up into the higher chakras, into the throat, third eye, and crown. Okay. So again, we want to ascend, we want to rise up that energy, and we want to bring that energy back down again. So that higher state of frequency can actually be dropped back down into our bodies where we can actually use it through the day. Because it's really cool to learn, yet if we're not really able to embody it, if we don't know how to actually use it in the next half hour, yeah, sometimes it takes a little bit to get to fine tune it. But for yoga, I feel the way I love to teach it is to bring you a teaching and then to give you a tangible way to use it in the next half hour or the next hour or through the day. So we rise up that energy once we start to tap into that security, the pleasure, the action, and then we start to notice that those lower chakras are aligned, and then we can bring it into the trust of love. Okay. And from there, we just keep ascending. So we bring it up and then we bring it all the way back down. So it is embodied and we're able to use it in our everyday and our every life, because then it just stays in our thoughts. Okay, so that's the power of embodiment, is to be able to learn something and then actually use it. So it doesn't always stay as a thought form. Okay, because we are human beings, yes. We are also meant to do things. Okay, we're meant to experience things. Yet what happens is when those experiences become our identification or our identity is what I'm trying to say, then things can get really jumbled. So we want to create space, and we create space by working through the chakras, getting things in alignment to become expansive in the heart, to further ascend up, to bring that energy back down as well. because bringing movement into our breath brings movement into our mind, brings movement into our body. Remember, you are always in control of the energy that you feel and that you put out into the world. So, energy wisely, pay attention, learn, and be curious. Beautiful. I love that. Thank you so, so much. Any more comments before I go? I love it. A little bit of dialogue there. Yes. Thank you so much. With the full moon coming up on Friday, I am hosting a peace pit. It is a ceremony around the fire pit to honor the full moon. That's Friday evening. There's 2 spots left. Please message me directly because there is no link for it on the website. You can also check out sheachievesstudio.com to bring in wisdom, journey, or ceremony into your life and self. And please remember, I am hosting the GUNA Yoga School 200-hour yoga teacher training, which starts on selected weekends, March 26th. So you receive an International Yoga Alliance approved yoga certification, whether you are thinking of teaching to others. And even if you're not, I still encourage you to be curious about it and to check out all the details on sheachievesstudio.com under wisdom. Because when we know more, we become more expanded into a higher consciousness. Beautiful. I love it. Thank you so much. I am logging off here. I will see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Enjoy the opportunity today to create space between you and your experiences, you and the experiences that you have, and fill that space with love. I say namaste. Peace out. Sat Nam. I'll see you tomorrow.